Greetings, 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 brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings, greetings. First and foremost, as we get into this word, we must acknowledge our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, for allowing this word to come out. I hope you sincere brothers and sisters are truly edified by today's word. And we're going to name today's word, the Lord giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, He increases strength. So in other words, we're going to name this word, the Lord give power to the faint and strength to them that have no might. That's right. What we're going to speak about today is the spiritual week. Okay. In the process of us speaking about the spiritual week, we're going to recognize the Lord's greatness, His power and wisdom. When you in this spiritual walk, man, like I say, and I take note of this all the time. We have to be very conscious of our spiritual stance, our spiritual position, our spiritual integrity, our spiritual existence. We have to be mindful of the stance that we are in. Okay, we in the world, but not of the world. In other words, we in the world, but we live by biblical principles. And the mastery of living by biblical principles is acknowledging our Heavenly Father, who is Yahweh. How do we acknowledge Him? Number one, being obedient to Him. Most importantly, fearing Him, reverencing Him, and fearing Him. And you have to understand, in this walk of life, this spiritual life, you have to have a sense of direction. You have to have a sense of guidance. You have to have what we call a spiritual GPS navigation system. And Yahweh, through His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, is that GPS spiritual navigation system. And why that's important, because it'll be times in our life where we're going to be spiritually weak, where we're going to faint. We're going to faint spiritually. What causes us to faint spiritually? Trials, tribulations, afflictions, oppressions, you name it. And what you see on the screen is a woman that has fainted. And metaphorically speaking, spiritually, this is what we look like. This is where we're currently at. A lot of us are currently in this same predicament. Spiritually, okay? Spiritually faint. This woman has spiritually fainted. This is the way you look at our state of mind. This is physically where we are, due to all the ass whoopings of life. In this life that we live, okay, you're going to get your ass handed to you a lot of times spiritually. And guess what? Only so long you're going to be able to be strong and maintain, and eventually you're going to get weary, and eventually you're going to faint, and you're going to look just like this on the screen. So I want to deal with individuals and speak to those that's impatient when they're going through their trials and tribulations, those that breed doubt, okay, those that are experiencing spiritual weakness. Hopefully, after you receive this word, you'll understand weakness will be made strong. Okay, in this word, we're going to deal with the necessity and the gift of having spiritual power by way of Yahweh, trickling down to His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. We're going to come to you in Isaiah chapter 40, verses 28, closing it out. Verse 31. In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28, and it reads, Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, who we know as Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. That's the question being posed. It says, there is no searching of his understanding. You see that? So when we analyze Isaiah 40 and 28, it says, hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard? Okay, in other words, in case you haven't known, in case you haven't heard, the Lord who we know is Yahweh, okay, he does not faint, nor is he weary. Okay, in other words, we are the ones that will experience that. We are the ones that will experience fainting and being weary. And he is the one that can rescue us and deliver us from that. It says, there is no searching of his understanding. Yeah, it's incomprehensible, unfathomable. We can't even process, okay, the understanding of the range of the Lord, his reach, his abilities, his power, his magnitude. We can't search it out. It's unsearchable. In other words, it's way above our head, his power, greatness, wisdom, strength. Verse 29 in Isaiah chapter 40. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increases strength. So when we go back to Isaiah 40 and verse 29, the first thing it says, he giveth power to who? To the faint, to the weak, to the ones that's fatigued, to the ones that's exhausted, to the ones that's spiritually weak, okay? Those that are mentally, spiritually oppressed, afflicted, and dealing with a lot of burdens. What do he do? By way of giving you power, he's strengthening you. So you sincere brothers and sisters out there, man, that's mentally, spiritually oppressed, mentally, spiritually afflicted, mentally, spiritually dealing with burdens, okay? You are mentally, spiritually fatigued, exhausted. According to Isaiah 40 and 29, the Lord will strengthen you. He will strengthen you. You dig? Now, let me grab this precept of 2 Corinthians, okay? Chapter 12, verse 10. Bear with me. Cold-blooded precept. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10, and it reads, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Yahweh's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong. You see that? You see that? So right there, man, is just another extension of how the Lord, okay, will strengthen you in your time of weakness, in your time of faint, in your time of being weary. You see? In Isaiah 40, verse 29, again, it reads, he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. Verse 30, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. So when we look at Isaiah 40, verse 30, it says, even the youth, okay, shall faint, shall be weak, shall be exhausted, fatigued, the whole nine, and be weary. In other words, tired, extremely tired, dealing with pain and suffering. And it says, and the young men shall utterly fall, shall stumble, shall stagger, shall be ruined. Okay, even though that will happen. Say, okay, it's going to happen. But before we come out with verse 31, let's look at what it says in Psalms 103, verse 5, when it comes to the youth fainting and being weary and the young men utterly falling. Let's see what it says in Psalms 103, verse 5. And it reads, "Who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles." You see that? That's cold-blooded, man. Yeah, that's cold-blooded. Let me say it again. Psalms 103 and 5. "Who satisfied thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles," man. See that? So again, when we go back to Isaiah 40 and 30, okay? It says, "Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall." You see that? In verse 31, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and faint not." Check that out. That's an extra extension of what it says in Psalms 103 and 5. And let me just bring that out one more time because it ties in with verse 31 as well. And it reads, "Who satisfied thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles." You see that? Cold-blooded, man. And again, in Isaiah 40 and 31, it reads, "But they that wait upon the Lord," okay, "shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." See that? So in a nutshell, what are we dealing with? Patience. It's going to be patience for his deliverance. You got to be patient for his deliverance. Okay. You will be rejuvenated in strength, in faith, in patience, in confidence. Okay. You're going to be high above the sky to touch the falling rain, man. That's how out of reach you're going to be when it comes to danger. And you're going to be relieved and revived, man. And that's for everybody out there that's dealing with this thing called being weary, spiritually weak, fainting, and being weary. Life will whoop you. Things that come with life will whoop you. And eventually you will faint. This will be you on the screen. But please know and understand, when that time comes, turn to the Lord and know he will deliver you from this. So anybody out there that's going through trials and tribulations and felt as though the Lord hasn't responded to them quickly, you have to get out of the state of being impatient. You got to get out of the state of having doubt. And you have to know that your weakness will be made strong. Okay? You have to understand that. And you also have to understand and recognize the Lord's greatness, his power, and his wisdom. And he will give you the necessity and the gift of spiritual power, man. As we close it out, man, I would like to say I hope you sincere brothers and sisters were truly, truly, truly edified by this word. And we give all praises, glory, and honor to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahushua, for allowing this word to come out. And hey, man, stay prayed up. Keep Yahweh through his only begotten Son, Yahushua, first in everything that you do, man. Word.